Hello, and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today we're going to start, I guess we can call it a tangent, a series of beers that are not craft beer, are Japanese, not craft, but from the four major companies, and also one other unusual characteristic. They are either low or non-alcoholic. And I'm going to be taking a look at all of the beers that the four Japanese majors make, and those four are Asahi, Kirin, Sapporo, and Suntory. And we'll look at all the available beers that are non-alcoholic from them, except one which hasn't quite made it to my area yet, which is a new one. Non-alcoholic beer or low alcoholic beer, of course, has a very long history. In medieval Europe, it was something that was called small beer, and it's been around in many countries for a long time. During Prohibition in the United States, beer was made under 5%, and of course, homebrew was made. So the temperance movement had an effect on the production of beer. Of course, it eliminated beer production, and people were looking for something that tasted like beer. In 1990, Anheuser-Busch produced O'Doul's, which became a big hit, and Miller had their Sharps beer as well. This kind of beer is very popular in certain countries in Europe, Germany in particular, and of course in the Middle East, where alcohol is frowned on or banned. It's non-alcohol beer is one half of all sales of beer. And we'll be looking at the characteristics of non-alcohol beer, and then in different countries which are popular brands, and then finally Japan. These beers are commonly lagers, but nowadays you'll find pale ales, IPAs, stouts, wheats, sours, all kinds. And I'll put a link to an article, a couple of articles actually, in the description section, so you can read more about this if you like. In many countries, non-alcoholic beer is by far the fastest growing sector, and that is true in Japan as well. Young Japanese are not drinking alcohol as much as their elders have, and beer sales have been declining for like 16 years in a row. And in fact, a bar opened in Tokyo called 0%, and it's apparently the first complete non-alcohol bar in the country. It's popular for its health benefits, of course, but unpopular among many people for a variety of reasons, and the most common is the taste defects. The processes that are used to make non-alcohol beer lead to a loss of aromatic esters, which are a prime feature of the aroma in beer, and also changes some other compounds as well. So basically, two ways of producing non-alcohol beer, and one of them is restricting fermentation, and the other is removing the ethanol alcohol from the beer. And restriction of fermentation can take a variety of forms. I won't go into all of them. Some of them are, for example, interrupting the fermentation, or cold fermentation to very low temperature fermentation to inhibit the production of alcohol. Special yeasts to try to produce a low alcohol beer. And ethanol removal, there are a number of ways to do it: vacuum evaporation, vacuum distillation, extracting through membranes, filtration, reverse osmosis, so many different types. And I read a few articles about this, and I didn't quite understand many of them. So in any case, breweries, there are a number of breweries that have produced beers these days, and you can find them listed many places, and you can find them in your market probably. Brewdog has produced Nanny State. Weihenstephaner Hefeweizen alcohol-free is another one. Rate Beer didn't allow them before, but now they do under low or no alcohol beer, and they have 3 categories: pale, dark, and wheat. And so a variety of very respected breweries are producing these. Weird Beard, Tiny Rebel, Schlenkerla, the smoked beer mavens in Germany, Mikkeller, and here in Japan recently, Kyoto Brewing, one of my favorites, Kyoto Brewing, produced a 1% Saison, and which is just maybe a little bit too high to be considered, but actually I think on Rate Beer it's up to 3% for low alcohol. So, and the beer is called Rebel Without a Cause. In Japanese it's Waka Genotari, which is translated as youthful indiscretion. So 1% Saison even. And some of the beers that we'll look at are made without fermentation. They're called beer taste inro, or beer taste beverage. And in general, the limit to be considered in this category is up to 0.5%. And we're going to look at a number of beers from these 4 Japanese breweries. In 2009, Kirin brought out their Kirin Free, which is a big hit. And then Asahi brought out their Dry Zero. Asahi Super Dry was the most popular beer in Japan. It still may be, I'm not sure, Super Dry. And they brought out Dry Zero, and that became #1 in sales for all non-alcohol beers, and I think it is currently. Asahi has 3 that we'll look at. Kirin has 4, and Suntory also has 4, and Sapporo 2. And we're going to look at 4 other beers that are contracted beers for the Japanese market. And when there's one more by Asahi, which is called Beery, Beery, and it's been released in certain areas of Japan, but not where I live. So we'll look at that a little bit later. Okay, so so we're going to start with Asahi, 3 alcohol-free beers from Asahi, and then we'll move on to Kirin, and then Sapporo and Suntory. Okay, and let's see what we get. Okay, I can't say I'm really looking forward to this, but we'll give it a go. Okay, and now we're looking at another beer from Kirin, a non-alcohol beer, and this one is called Karada FREE. Karada means body in Japanese, and this is a 0 calorie, 0 carb, 0 alcohol beer. And they say they create a kind of bittering acid from aged hops, and it's designed to reduce body fat. Okay, well, we'll see. Rate Beer has no ratings for this. Untapped has 45, an average of 1.93. I think no matter where you go, the ratings for this will be pretty low. It's 1.93 out of 5. So, Karada FREE. And you'll notice there's so much explanation on these beers. It's almost as if you're reading a beer, you're reading your way to health or something like that. In any case, let's give this one a go, shall we? I'm going through these too quickly, I know, but there's really not a lot to say about them. Okay, this is, as all of them, typically gold straw, completely clear. These little, what do you call it? Little beady carbonation sticking to the sides of the glass, like little tiny poppy seeds. Ooh, okay. I'm getting a whiff of something like seashore here. Apples. Cardboard. Flavor very similar to the aroma. Cardboard. Not that I eat cardboard, but white apples, grapes, very thin, very watery. Yeah, aftertaste is not too harsh. It kind of just sort of fades away mercifully. Yeah, this is probably a beer you can give a miss, unless you're really concerned about your Karada, and you can give this a go if you like. Once again, it's called Kirin Karada FREE. No alcohol, no carbonate, no calorie. I'm sorry, not carbonation, carbohydrate, and no calorie beer from Kirin. That's it. Okay, we're going to look at one more from Kirin, and that'll be it. And then we'll move on to the other two majors, Sapporo and Suntory. Bye bye.